I know you can't have any, so I'm gonna do one for you and the baby.
Hey, sweet.
Here's to the Coopers.
Yeah, you know what the hell?
Oh,
Well, if I saw a woman who was pregnant drinking, I'd probably actually say something even if I didn't know her. I'd be like, are you aware that it's really unhealthy to drink when pregnant? And I would warn her of, fetal alcohol syndrome and tell her that it can cause severe birth defects in children, as well as brain development in children.
If I saw a obviously pregnant woman drinking alcohol, I would be very concerned for her and for her child. I wouldn't. She would have to know that there were repercussions. It would just shock me that somebody would do that to their child.
I think I would intervene. Obviously, it's terrible and not something that anyone should be doing. And the ramifications, obviously, for the newborn would be terrible. So I would definitely say something.
If I saw a child that was the product of fetal alcohol syndrome, I would definitely feel sympathetic for the child because, they're completely innocent in the situation. It was completely the parents' fault for not being educated in the matter, for being irresponsible while pregnant, and the child had no say in that whatsoever.
I would feel sympathy towards the child because this was out of their control. I think it's completely the mother's responsibility.
I would definitely be angry and concerned about the situation the child's in at home. If I'm in a classroom where this is happening, I would obviously have to address it. If anything, it would just make me feel stronger about my opinion about it in the first place.
So children with fetal alcohol syndrome most likely, very likely, have severe learning and mental disabilities. And just like other children with disabilities and learning problems, we always have special curriculum plans made out in our lesson plans. We always have specific sections that mention what we can do for children who have specific learning disabilities. We always include things for like blind children, children who have problems with paying attention. And we always adjust our curriculums to make the child always feel included, and so that way they're always being a part of the lesson, even if they can't cooperate in the same way that other students are. We always want them to be involved, and they're an integral part of the classroom. So if we're doing music and we're playing on instruments and the student has some trouble maybe holding instruments, we will usually give them easier instruments that have less pieces to them, so that way usually rhythm instruments, and they can pad along with the beat, just for one example.
As a teacher, I would have to adapt my curriculum based on what their behavioral disorder might be or what their disability may be. I would also be going along with a state IEP plan.
Any student that has any kind of learning disability or behavioral problems require extra attention from the teacher, which I think any good teacher needs to do. These students, if it's documented, will have an individualized education plan. If they don't and their behavior is an issue, I would personally just I would speak to the student and find out what any issues are from them, and then refer them to the counseling department at the school to make sure they got what they needed. I would definitely encourage accepting environments in the classroom. I do that as it is anyway, because everyone has their own quirks and issues, and they're not always known about by other people, or not fully understood by other people that don't experience it firsthand. So I would just foster a very friendly, accepting environment in the classroom, and any kind of behavioral issues that come up certainly wouldn't make the child feel bad about themselves. Rather, just kind of redirect their behavior to a more conducive learning behavior and learning environment.
To raise awareness for fetal alcohol syndrome, I think that it should be brought into health classes in high schools, depending on the state, of course. Obviously, not every high school or middle school has a health class, which needs to change. Other ways to raise awareness, pamphlets, even having ads for it, like they do for quitting smoking. It's a little brutal, but it might work.
Because people think that not drinking while pregnant is a very obvious piece of information to know, a lot of people decide not to talk about it as much, but that also sometimes can make mothers think that it's not that big of a deal. I definitely believe that we should raise awareness for fetal alcohol syndrome, whether it be through the media, through flyers, through educational classes for expectant mothers. I think because it is such a well-known thing not to drink while pregnant, mothers will just they won't make as big of a deal about it, and so they think, oh, if I just have a couple drinks, it'll be fine. But a couple drinks turn into more, and that's when it becomes a really big problem.